Hey guys, today I'll show you a horror TV series named Black Mirror Season 5. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. The first story, titled Striking Vipers, begins with Danny and his girlfriend Theo being a loving couple. He and his best friend Carl were very close, and they rented an apartment together. One day, after Danny and Theo's intimate time, Carl invited him to play a game called Striking Vipers. Excited, they began to play against each other. Carl always chose a female character, and he consistently managed to defeat Danny's male character, leaving him battered and bruised. Yet, Danny enjoyed playing. 11 years passed, and Danny had built a family with Theo. On his 38th birthday, they hosted a party where friends and family gathered, including Carl, who had been out of touch for a while. Carl brought a unique birthday gift, a newly released immersive game, Striking Vipers version 10, complete with virtual reality components. Upon Carl's strong recommendation, Danny, albeit a bit embarrassed, accepted the valuable gift. Danny had injured his knee and struggled even to walk, while Carl was a fitness enthusiast. Unmarried, Carl showed off his girlfriend's beautiful picture in front of Danny. In the evening, after their friends left and Theo went to bed, Danny played a game of Tetris by himself. Suddenly, a message popped up. It's Carl who invites him to play Striking Vipers. Unable to refuse, Danny followed Carl's instructions, inserted the game chip into the controller, and attached the virtual reality magnetic disc to his head. Carl still chose the female character while Danny picked his usual male character. After pressing the start button, they entered the incredible game world. The sensation was like their souls entering other bodies. Although Danny had an injured knee in real life, he could jump high in the game. They could do things in the game that they couldn't do in reality. The first round began, and the game simulated all physical sensations, including pain when hit. Danny still couldn't beat Carl and was beaten severely. In the second round, Danny started to fight back, and after a series of skilled moves, they ended up entangled in an ambiguous position. Carl couldn't help but kiss Danny, who also found it enjoyable. However, they realized their actions were inappropriate, so they awkwardly exited the game. Although they regretted their actions, both of them were still immersed in the thrill of the game. In the days that followed, the two close friends were restless. Late one night while Danny was playing Tetris, he received another invitation from Carl. Both of them felt awkward, blaming their previous behavior on being drunk. However, when they entered the game, they couldn't help but embrace each other and engaged in intimacy. From that moment on, they couldn't control themselves in the game, becoming deeply addicted to the indescribable thrill. They couldn't muster any interest in their real-life partners anymore, and using fatigue as an excuse was no longer working. Theo realized that something was wrong with her marriage. Carl claimed that experiencing pleasure using a woman's body in the game was a completely different and more satisfying experience. One day, Danny even forgot his wedding anniversary with Theo. She was speechless. Arriving at the bar early to wait for her husband, she was approached by a handsome young man. Although she was somewhat tempted, she showed her wedding ring and politely declined. When Danny finally arrived, the couple sat facing each other but couldn't find any topic to discuss. After a while, Theo got straight to the point, saying they hadn't been intimate for weeks, and he kept rejecting her. She asked whether it was because she had lost her figure after giving birth, or if he had someone else. Danny shook his head. Theo wiped away tears and told him she had just turned down a man who'd hit on her, all because of the promise they made at their wedding. Danny felt guilty, put his hand on his wife's, and assured her that nothing had happened. On the other hand, Carl, who was with his beautiful girlfriend, had also lost his previous passion. To avoid making any more mistakes, Danny decided to put the VR magnetic disc away, burying it deep in a drawer. He told Carl that he couldn't continue cheating in the game anymore because it wasn't fair to Theo. Then, without waiting for a response, he hung up the phone. Carl was left feeling extremely distressed. 7 months later, Theo was happily pregnant with their second child. On Danny's 39th birthday, she watched her husband playing with their son in the yard, feeling content. She took it upon herself to invite his old friend Carl as a surprise for her husband. However, for Danny, it was more of a shock than a surprise. He didn't want Carl there, fearing they might fall back into old habits. At the dinner table, while Theo was away, Carl complained to Danny about his loneliness. He said that during the time Danny wasn't playing with him, he had tried playing with computer-controlled characters. He had tried everything, but he couldn't feel anything for them. He couldn't forget the wonderful feeling they had together, which surpassed all else. Despite Danny asking him to stop talking, Carl proposed one last rendezvous at midnight. After Carl left, Danny struggled with his decision. At midnight, he couldn't resist the temptation and once again succumbed to the game. Feeling lost afterward, he decided to meet Carl in real life to figure out if they had truly changed each other's preferences. After some hesitation, the two grown men kissed, confirming that there was no spark between them in reality, no feelings at all. This reassured both of them, but Carl still wanted to continue their love affair in the game. Danny reluctantly refused, and the two close friends had a physical altercation in reality, which led to them being arrested and taken to the police station. Theo bailed Danny out, and on the way home, she learned the whole story. In the blink of an eye, another year went by. On Danny's 40th birthday, after the guests had left, Theo handed him the magnetic disc, asking him to return it the next day. Danny also handed her a ring box. Theo took off her wedding ring, placed it in the box, and went to the bar to indulge herself as a single woman. Danny took out the magnetic disc, entered the game with Carl once more, and they tangled together, beginning their annual celebration of debauchery. The second story, titled Rachel, Jack, and Ashley 2, begins with Rachel, who had just transferred to a new high school. She wasn't good at socializing, but was a huge fan of the actress Ashley. Whenever she had free time, she would watch Ashley's performances on her phone. The school was recruiting for a talent show, and Rachel was interested but too shy and timid to participate. Rachel's father was a researcher of mousetraps, and his occupation was apparent from the car he drove. Since her mother's passing, Rachel's elder sister Jack rarely spoke to her, and their relationship had become distant. In a television interview, actress Ashley claimed that her self-written songs were created in her dreams, and she had to write them down quickly upon waking to avoid forgetting them. She often encouraged her fans on the show to be in control of their own destinies. Ashley's aunt, who was also her manager, reminded Ashley to start promoting the AI robot toy designed in her likeness. This new intelligent companion was tailored to Ashley's real personality, and it could chat with people and provide advice. Upon Rachel's request, she received a special gift from her father on her birthday, a brand new robot Ashley, who was incredibly intelligent, chatting affectionately with the girl and always looking out for her. It even played Ashley's original songs for its owner. Before long, Rachel became inseparable from the robot. As for the actress Ashley, her aunt treated her like a money-making machine. To ensure that Ashley would continue creating profitable songs, her aunt gave her hallucinogenic drugs. However, Ashley hadn't created the songs she wanted for a long time, which left her money-hungry aunt quite frustrated. Encouraged by Robot Ashley, Rachel started practicing Ashley's dance moves at home. Robot Ashley urged her to participate in the school talent show, confident that she would shine on stage. With the robot's encouragement, Rachel practiced tirelessly on a chair, even dressing up as Ashley. On the day of the performance, Ashley refused to leave her dressing room. When her aunt entered, she discovered Ashley had applied a very unusual makeup look, wanting to sing her favorite rock songs instead. Panicked, the aunt reminded Ashley that 20,000 fans were waiting to see their beloved idol, who they had waited months for. Not wanting to disappoint them, the assistant handed Ashley more hallucinogenic drugs. After watching Ashley take the drugs, the aunt left, feeling relieved. However, Ashley hadn't swallowed them, instead accumulating an entire box of the pills. Unbeknownst to her, the aunt had captured all of this on a hidden camera in the dressing room. As for Rachel, her impersonation performance was fantastic and impressive, but without Robot Ashley's company, she became too nervous. She made a mistake and fell on stage, running away before the performance was over. She cried on her way home, feeling like she had let Robot Ashley down. Her sister Jack believed that Robot Ashley was poisoning her sister and wasn't a good influence, so she hid the robot in the attic while her sister was away, claiming she had thrown it away. Rachel was furious and had a big argument with her sister. The aunt secretly went through Ashley's notebook, realizing that Ashley had long been unhappy with her current situation, despite the money it brought in. Ashley disliked being controlled by her aunt, from her image and appearance to her personality. The aunt tried to pressure Ashley with their contract, but Ashley revealed that she had been saving the drug pills as evidence, as they constituted a breach of contract, making it null and void. However, the aunt remained unafraid, as she had secretly added a large amount of hallucinogenic powder to Ashley's recent pizza, causing her to become mentally disoriented and fall into a coma. The aunt then announced to the public that Ashley had fallen into a coma due to an allergic reaction to shellfish. Upon hearing the news, the sister returned the robot to Rachel as a means of comforting her. The malicious aunt planned to extract songs from Ashley's brainwaves, allowing a substitute to continue making money for her. 6 months later, the news on TV reported that Ashley was still in a coma. Her aunt appeared on camera, feigning sadness. Robot Ashley was awakened by this news and listened carefully. The Ants team had successfully extracted music scores created by Ashley in her dreams from her brainwaves. After hearing the news, Robot Ashley broke down. Its memory became scrambled, and it crashed into walls before finally falling to the floor. Jack connected the robot to a computer to try and fix it. She discovered something and deleted it, causing its personality to change entirely. It went from being a sweet, caring companion to a foul-mouthed, ill-mannered doll. It turned out that Jack had mistakenly deleted the limiter, which had been placed there by the ant to restrict the robot's access to only 4% of its brain. Now, without the limiter, Robot Ashley's entire consciousness was that of Ashley. Robot Ashley told the two sisters about the ant's big lies and how she had been deceiving fans and hiding the truth. The crude talking robot was the real Ashley, whose public image had been fabricated by her aunt. After sharing her story, Robot Ashley said there was evidence of the ant's wrongdoings on her computer and asked the sisters to help her retrieve it to save their beloved idol. Although Jack didn't want to get involved, she went along for her sister. The three of them managed to enter Ashley's house just before the automatic door closed. The sisters pretended to be pest control workers, earning the trust of the security guards and gaining entry to the house. Rachel took Robot Ashley upstairs, claiming she needed to use the restroom. However, the robot ran off and unplugged Ashley's life support system. Realizing the danger, Jack used her father's electric device to stun the security guard and rushed upstairs. It turned out that Robot Ashley didn't want to live in its current state and be exploited by the ant, so it tricked the sisters into helping it with a suicide mission. Surprisingly, not only did Ashley not die, but she also woke up, though she was unable to move due to being restrained by the machines. At that moment, another security guard arrived to investigate the situation. When he realized something was wrong, he called the ant, who instructed him to put Ashley back into a coma. In the nick of time, the sisters rushed forward, turning the syringe on the security guard instead and saving Ashley. The ant was on stage introducing Ashley's replacement, a holographic version of Ashley. This hologram could change outfits in real time, stretch or shrink, and had many other advantages. It could also perform synchronously online across the country without ever getting tired or sick. Regardless, the audience seemed to love it, cheering and enjoying themselves. Just then, Jack drove up with the real Ashley and burst into the venue. Ashley stepped out of the car and defiantly flipped off her shameless aunt. Afterward, Ashley finally got her wish to be herself again, no longer under her aunt's control. Together with the guitarist Jack, she performed her beloved rock music in underground bars. While there were fewer audience members than before, she was finally able to do what she loved, and Robot Ashley was happy to join the band too. The third story, titled Smithereens, begins with Chris hanging around outside a social media company called Smithereens. He seems a bit nervous as he receives an order on his Uber app. A young woman gets into the car and Chris asks if she works at Smithereens. She says she's just there to take care of some business, leaving him disappointed. He then becomes quiet and furrows his brow. Inside a fast food restaurant, customers are all engrossed in their phones, causing Chris to feel restless and uneasy. At a support group meeting, a grieving mother shares her story. Her daughter had ended her own life in the bathroom 18 months earlier without any warning signs. The mother wants to know why her daughter chose this path and is heartbroken. Afterward, the woman and Chris meet outside and discuss their experiences before going for a drink. They end up spending the night together at her place. The woman shows him a photo of her deceased daughter and reveals her desperation to know why she took her own life. She has been trying to log into her daughter's social media account, but the company refuses to disclose the password, citing privacy concerns. As a result, she created a long list of possible passwords and attempted 3 new ones each day. The next day, Chris returned to the entrance of Smithereens, waiting for another opportunity. This time, he picked up a well-dressed man named Jaden heading to the airport. Chris confirmed that Jaden was an employee of the company. Throughout the journey, Jaden was constantly looking at his phone and smiling. Using a fake notification of an accident ahead as an excuse, Chris took a different route. Jaden, without lifting his head from his phone, agreed. When he finally realized where they were, Chris had taken him to a desolate place. Holding a gun, he ordered Jaden to tie himself up. Panicking, Jaden explained that he was only an intern on his way to deliver something to his boss at the airport. Disappointed and furious, Chris ranted about how the social media app developed by the company had ruined humanity. People were addicted to their phones, losing their own lives in the process. In order to prevent the police from tracking him through Uber, Chris switched to another car he had prepared in advance. He intended to stuff Jaden into the trunk, but after Jaden pleaded due to his claustrophobia, he settled for putting a hood on him and placing him in the back seat, immobilized. However, halfway through the journey, Jaden sat up due to motion sickness and was spotted by a patrolling policewoman. She started chasing them. In an attempt to avoid two cyclists, Chris drove into a field where the car broke down. Holding a gun to his hostage, he threatened the police to back off. To ensure Jaden's safety, the officers reluctantly retreated, unsure of Chris's intentions. After a while, Chris told Jaden he wanted to speak to the company's founder, Billy. However, they realized that Jaden's phone had been left in the first car. Chris was on the verge of a breakdown, venting his frustration by repeatedly honking the car horn. Meanwhile, police reinforcements arrived, armed and ready for action. Chris instructed Jaden to contact the company's receptionist, who put him through to Hannah from Human Resources. After much effort explaining his situation and to prove it wasn't a prank, Chris sent her a photo of Jaden with a gun pointed at his head. However, Billy, the founder of Smithereens, was in the United States at the time. Unwilling to disturb their boss, the staff contacted the CEO instead. Anxiously, Chris and Jaden awaited a response as more and more police cars arrived, along with snipers and negotiators. The police managed to track down Chris's address through his license plate number and went to investigate. Meanwhile, Smithereens used Chris's phone number to find his social media account and easily identified him from his photos. The CEO contacted Chris, trying to calm him down and understand his true intentions. However, he insisted that he would only speak with Billy, otherwise, Jaden would meet his end. Consequently, the company's tech team played songs through Chris's app while listening to his voice on the other end, where he was quietly repeating the same sentence that this is his last day. The police arrived at the car owner's home and saw Chris's picture. From the neighbors, they learned that the old female homeowner was Chris's mother, who had passed away a few months prior. Since then, Chris had been living alone, driving to work every morning. In reality, he was an IT teacher who had been unemployed for 2 years. He had no criminal record but had been involved in a car accident 3 years ago in which his fiancée and the drunk driver responsible both died. The CEO from Smithereens called the police and after examining Chris's social media account, concluded that he belonged to a high IQ, low-income demographic and had harbored animosity towards the company. His social media had been inactive for a long time, and they discovered that he had only been picking up passengers from Smithereens in recent weeks. After losing his fiancée in the accident, he had withdrawn from social media and stopped contacting friends. It seemed like he wanted to extort money from the company. However, the negotiator believed that money wasn't Chris's true motive. He wanted to get Billy's attention and achieve the status Billy possessed. Confidently, the negotiator stepped out and called out to Chris through a megaphone, even giving him a call. At that moment, a sniper was in position, but they couldn't shoot due to the hostage being behind Chris. However, Chris quickly saw through the negotiator's true intentions, which were to distract him and give the sniper an opportunity to shoot. The negotiator was left speechless. Chris, annoyed and waiting for Billy's call, ordered the negotiator to return to his car, or else he would kill the hostage. The negotiator had no choice but to comply and drive away. At that time, Billy was in the middle of a 10-day silent retreat, cut off from the world. It was day 6, and the CEO didn't want to disturb him. However, due to the urgency of the situation, the company had no choice but to send someone to inform Billy. After hearing about the situation, Billy requested to speak with Chris, but the CEO was concerned about the potential negative impact on the company and refused. At this point, Chris revealed the truth to Jaden that it was a fake gun. The police overheard this and began to devise a plan. Jaden wanted to get out of the car and leave, but Chris informed him that the child safety locks were on. If they were to struggle, the sniper might hurt them. Reluctantly, Jaden gave up on the idea. A cyclist who had been watching the scene overheard the police talking about the fake gun and posted the information on social media. With this knowledge, the police confidently approached Chris. Chris discovered through his app that the police were aware of his fake gun. In an attempt to scare them away, he yelled that his gun was real. The police didn't believe him, so Chris fired a shot into the sky. Terrified, the officer ducked for cover while the sniper took a shot. The bullet pierced the car, grazing Chris but not causing serious injury. Angered, Chris gave an ultimatum over the phone. If Billy didn't call back within 5 minutes, he would kill the hostage. Despite this, the CEO and the joint investigation team still prevented Billy from talking to Chris. Billy decided to take matters into his own hands. After quickly finding Chris's phone number, they finally connected. Following some contemplation, Chris shared his backstory. Since 2008, he had been using Smithereens non-stop, becoming severely addicted to the internet. 3 years prior, after visiting his sick mother with his fiancée, they were driving home. His fiancée was asleep in the car when they went down a quiet road. Suddenly, a notification from Smithereens lit up his phone. Someone had liked his comment on their pet dog's photo. Distracted, a tragic accident occurred, and their car collided with another. His fiancée struggled for 2 months before passing away, while the drunk driver in the other car also died. The accident was deemed the driver's fault, and everyone sympathized with Chris, including his fiancée's family. However, he knew it was his own fault for looking at his phone, causing the accident and his fiancée's death. He was consumed with guilt. Billy's psychological team sent a strategy for talking to Chris, but it only backfired when implemented. Billy abandoned the computer and the useless strategy. Chris wanted Billy to consider user feedback and optimize the software in the next update. Billy admitted that the original intention for creating the software was not for addiction, but his team had turned it into an attention-grabbing, addictive app for profit. He couldn't stop it and was just a front. However, Chris didn't want to hear any of it. He had planned the kidnapping just to share his story with Billy. Learning that Chris intended to end his life, Billy urgently tried to stop him. Chris decided to ask for one last favor before dying: help get the password of the dead girl's account for her mother. It turned out the password was the number on the cruise ship photo. Having fulfilled his wish, Chris untied Jaden's hands and let him go. Jaden tried to stop Chris from terminating himself, but he couldn't be persuaded. As Chris unlocked the child's safety lock, Jaden tried to snatch the gun from his hand. They struggled, and the police mistakenly thought Chris was trying to hurt Jaden. They ordered the sniper to shoot. The first shot missed, but Chris didn't give up on his suicidal thoughts. As the second shot was fired, the screen went black. This is Daniel CC Movie Channel. Stay safe and enjoy your day.